Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about the topic understanding of how different socio-political realities constructs different childhoods. In order to understand this topic very clearly, let me share the screen so that you can understand the topic with more pictures and related videos, flowcharts, etc. The social construction of the childhood refers to the idea that the childhood is seen or constructed differently by different societies. According to the Rogers, he describes the three varying approaches of studying about children and childhood. For example, he has seen it as a scientific approach, applied approach, and social construct approach. Bitten describes it as the three varying approaches of studying about children and the childhood as first socio-economic situation of the families, second endeavors to understand emotional and psychological changes in the child's upbringing, thirdly legal and political changes. Social constructivism seeks to understand how children and childhood knowledge is constructed by whom and why, and more substantially what purpose it would serve. Social constructivism offers alternative ways to find out about the children and the childhood. Social construction of the children is grounded in varying conceptions among different cultures, societies, and at the different time period in history. It also emphasizes on the diversity of situations and the circumstances in which the childhood is experienced. It is this conceptualization of the childhood as a social construct which forms the substrate for this concept. Various perspectives on children and the childhood within this approach have emerged. Coming to the objectives of the topic, today we are going to learn about to understand how children and childhood knowledge is constructed, to know how about children in past versus children in present generations, and to understand diversity of situations and the circumstances in which childhood is experienced, to know how social constructivism offers alternative ways to find out about children and the childhood, and to understand socio-political realities in India. Coming to the topic, how childhood is constructed by society. When talking about the childhood as a social construct, we need to remember the focus is on perceptions or the ways we see the children and how this can change. Sociologists see the childhood as social constructed, in other words, as something created, defined by society. They argue that what people mean by childhood and the status of children in society is not fixed, but differs between different times, places, and cultures. Examples of social construct includes children as good, children as evil, and also children as innocent. If you believe childhood is socially constructed, you believe ways of seeing childhood can change across times and cultures. Coming to the sociological perspective of child. Sociological perspective of childhood, we understood that there exists variety and diversity in experiences of the children across the times and societies. Further, there are different conceptions about child and the childhood across times and societies and the contexts. They are so different that it is difficult to have one idea of child and childhood. Yet, in general, as adults, we envision childhood as one category. Such a vision is more of a creation or construction, which is not based on empathetic understanding of experiences of the children. It is shaped by a uniform and a narrow vision of a society, which may have a deep implications on lives of children. This ways of looking at children seems to be adults' construction of childhood. We may agree with Miles' argument that children lives are lived through childhoods constructed for them by adults, understanding of childhood and what children are and should be, childhood as a social construct. A social construction can be defined as a theoretical perspective that explores the ways in which reality is negotiated in everyday life through people's interactions and through sets of discourses. It focuses on the culture, context in understanding what happens in society and in constructing the knowledge based on those understandings. When we examine the idea of social construction, we have to highlight the following points. Always understandings are culturally, historically related. Our knowledge about the world is constructed through our daily interactions, and there are many possible constructions of the world. You may notice that when developmental psychologists differentiate children from adults on the basis of ability in range of domains, social constructivists argue that childhood has more to do with how people define it, thus making childhood a social construction. Our attitude towards childhood is influenced by the dominant belief systems of the society in which we live. So it may vary across time and the culture. We can only begin to understand our views of childhood if we take an account of our concept of childhood and adolescence. The constructed nature of childhood becomes more apparent when we contrast the concepts of childhood that prevail at different historical periods and in different cultures. Let us discuss the historical perspective of childhood. Social constructivism, according to the Brown, observes how the interactions of the individuals with their society and the world around them giving meaning. Otherwise, worthless things creates the reality of the society. So when we look into the different types of childhoods, here we can see the children in past versus children in present generations. The largest difference the current generation of the children has compared to past generation is the influence of the internet. No generation has ever before been bombarded with the information and social pressures as they are today. No generation of children has ever before carried phones in their pockets, constantly attached to the world at all the times. In the past, children would come home from school, visit with the friends, do the homework, then possibly play outside. Most of the time is being spent in schools as well as in the play group, interacting with the friends. Now let us see children in the past versus children in the present generation in perspective of, in view of following factors, that is culture. When you look from the culture point of view, from art to music, cultural beliefs and the customs and our generation has changed rapidly. Unlike the new generation, baby boomers were more of an independent generation since it was their personal responsibility for them to make something good out of themselves. By this, we mean that nobody used to spoon feed them. All the time, they were made to understand that life does not owe them anything. So they used to be alternative, attentive, and fixed all the time. Ensure that they're always on the right track. On the other hand, our generation feels like we are authorized on everything and we can easily give up from doing something if it requires some extra effort or concentration. We have primed to always expect things to be done for us, and it is truly affecting us on how we go about in our day-to-day activities. Coming from the perspective of technology point of view, technology has evidently changed our society, both positively as well as negatively. As days goes by, science and technology has been virtually advanced. Huge number of new generation is relying on the internet, precisely social media, which has to gain more attention from our youngsters over the past few years, and people can now meet and communicate easily with their loved ones regardless of your whereabouts. Compared to the old generation, whereby technology was not really familiarized, as they had to find a way to dig deep and ensure their task is completely done by their bare hands without any programmed device that they could use. Coming to the third factor, lifestyle. The baby boomers' lifestyle was quite difficult because, as a way of discipline, the children were whipped and given punishments by their parents, and any mistake made by them, there were consequences, and this made the child to be more vigilant, careful next time before trying another stupid thing. But present generation parents are becoming more relaxed when disciplining their child, and has led to the child becoming rebellious and having troubles following some simple rules, regulations given by their parent. Coming to the media effect. The older generation had nothing to do with the media because they only experienced real life happenings with no computer, televisions, phones. Back then, people were still keeping in touch, spending time with each other, unlike the new generation, whereby the media has been used as a system of keeping in touch with the relatives and loved ones. Now, let us look into the definition of the socio-political reality. Socio-political is something that involves both social and political factors. A social issue is a problem that influences many individuals within a society. A social issue has many categories in depth as well as light. It's a common problem we see happening in our society. A social issue has been considered as a problem that influences many people, and many people strives to solve the issue. An example of something that is socio-political is the issue of environmental conservation, which is influenced by both social attitude towards going green and by political policies. Socio-political reality means the problems faced by the society or involving the society. The political factors in real life issues is known as socio-political reality. For example, the problems of hygiene, health, which is a reality, is a social issue as well as political issue. Likewise, we have poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, child labor, environmental pollution. These are all the major social political realities that are faced by individuals. Few of these issues are very severe in some countries and are becoming a threat to the lives of the people in these countries. Now let us look into the 6 features of new paradigm, sociology of childhood, according to the Prout James. According to the Prout and James, the socially constructed childhood is different from the biological immaturity. It is conceptualized interpretation of humans' early life based on societal beliefs and cultures. Childhood is intertwined with other social variables in society such as gender, class, ethnicity, etc. Children's own independent perspectives must be considered while studying children's and childhood. Children must be viewed as an active participant not only in construction of the knowledge about them, but also in construction of the society as a whole. Due to direct involvement of the children in construction of the knowledge about them, ethnography is useful methodology in science to study childhood. The new paradigm of the childhood sociology is to respond to the process of reconstructing childhood. The idea of that the childhood is socially constructed refers to the understanding that childhood is not a natural process, rather it is society which decides when a child is a child, when a child becomes an adult. The notion of the childhood cannot be seen in isolation. According to the Junks, it is deeply intertwined with other factors in society. The notion of the childhood is socially constructed and understood contextually. Now let us look into the socio-political realities in India. The socio-political realities in India, it includes number one, air, sound, water pollution. When you take this factor, air, sound, and water pollution, India has most polluted cities in the world. Pollution has the ability to reach massive proportions and destroy the ecosystem. If we do not stop abusing the natural resources before it is too late, along with that, planning for the optimal utilization of water needs to be on the top of the list. Because of the water pollution, wastages can leave our country dry and barren in the next decade. These pollutions are making the country backward in development and harming the people in the country adversely. It is also a political concern, as it is the duty of the national leaders to protect the nation. We have seen the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in order to keep the country clean and green. With these missions followed by the nation, the society and the children are also able to make the childhood memories with clean and green environment. Coming to the hygiene and sanitation. Sanitation is a basic right of every citizen of the country. Unfortunately, this is a one issue of the country has not been able to successfully handle. People still do not segregate dry and wet waste, which causes huge issues in decomposing and recycling. Continued usage of plastics can also lead to serious environmental and health hazards in the near future. For the children living in slums, their childhood is filled with unhygienic atmosphere due to their growth development is affected. For this, the nation has adopted the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan to build a toilet for each house through the government, and this is helping the child to cope with a clean environment. Now coming to the third one, issues of poverty and unemployment. A large section of our population under the poverty line. There is a huge unemployment. Inflation, price rise has added to the problem. With a significant number of people living below the poverty line and its impact on a socio-economic marginal failures, families, in the form of poor quality of life, diseases, low literacy, malnutrition, child labor becomes a serious concern. Chronic unemployment and the consequent poverty are responsible for the erosion of human values. Under the compulsion of poverty, parents do not hesitate even to send their children to the labor market. Millions of children miss their childhood because of this phenomenon. They remain uneducated, ignorant, which results in their unemployment or underemployment and consequent poverty. Many self-employment schemes have been developed by many of the countries in order to help the people. Now coming to the beggary. It is a painful experience to come across beggars wherever we go. We also see many children begging in the streets. However, beggary is a social curse which must be eradicated. Coming to the different problems of the children. A large number of the children, because of the poverty, do not go to school and are withdrawn from the school before they complete their elementary education and are forced to start working at the young and the tender age in factories, in bricklines, and you can see it in restaurants, hotels, shops, etc. This hampers their growth physically, mentally, and emotionally. They grow with hatred, agony, and fail to become worthy citizens of the nation. Right to Education Act 2009 provides for education for all the children between ages of 6 to 14 years. Once this cherished goal of education for all is achieved, the state of our country will be much better. Now let us see understanding of how different socio-political realities construct different childhoods. There are three important factors we are going to look into. Number one, childhood is not an unchanging biological state of life. Childhood is not an unchanging biological stage of life. Childhood is not, when you can say it's not unchangeable biological state of life, rather childhood is a social political construct. Every aspect of the childhood, including children's relationships with their parents and their peers, their proportion of the population that passed through childhood to adulthood has changed dramatically over past few centuries. Methods of child rearing, the duration of the schooling, the nature of the children play, young people's participation in the work, the points of demarcation between childhood, adolescence, adulthood are products of culture, politics, and historical era. Coming to the second point, childhood in the past was experienced and conceived in a quite different way than today. Just 2 centuries ago, there was a far less age segregation than there is today. There was also far less sentimentalization of children as special beings who were more innocent and vulnerable than adults. Coming to the language itself illustrates shifts in the construction of the childhood. 200 years ago, the words used to describe the childhood were far less precise than those we use today. The word infancy referred not the months after the birth, but the period in which we can see it is a children were under the mother's control, typically from birth to age of 5 or 6 years. So the language itself illustrates the shifts in the construction of the childhood. Now let us look into the transformations in the childhood. Number one, shift in the timings, sequence, and the stages of growing up. Shift in the timings, sequence, and the stages of the growing up. Here you can see that the first it involves shifts not only in the sequence, stages, but also in the timing, how the child is growing up. Over the past 4 centuries, the stages of the childhood have grown much more precise, uniform, and prescriptive. Coming to the next important point, demography. Demography is the second force for change. A sharp reduction in the birth rates substantially reduced the proportion of children in the general population from half of the population in the mid-19th century to a third by 19th century. A declining birth rate divided families into more distinct generations and allowed parents to spend more time, more attention, resources on each child. This also made societies less dependent on children's labor and allowed adult society to impose new institutional structures on young people's lives, reflecting shift in the notion about children's popular chronological development. Now coming to the third point, that is nothing but it is attitudinal transformation. The third category, that is attitudinal transformation. Adult conceptions of childhood have shifted profoundly over time. Superficially, postmodern childhood does not resemble pre-modern childhood, as in the 17th century children are no longer regarded as the opposites of adults, nor are they considered as innocent creatures. Today, adults quite rightly assume that even pre-adolescents are knowledgeable about realities of the adult world. We still assume that the young are fundamentally different from adults. They should spend their 18 years in the parents' home and they should devote their time to education in schools. But it is also clear those basic aspects of the ideals of the protective childhood in which the young are kept isolated from the adult realities have broken down. In some societies of today, the world children are supposed to earn from early age, they are viewed as economically responsible members of the family and the society. And this makes it problematic to implement the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child in all the countries with the same emphasis. In these societies, childhood as a concept is considered totally different from the modern industrialized societies. It turns childhood as dependent not only on context, culture, time, but also circumstances. Now let us look into the political influence on the development of childhood and adolescence. Various international conventions, agreements, and laws ratify the same, which protects the child's interests and rights, pave the way for the children to be free from labor, and devote their childhood to play as well as for the education. Indian Constitution has provided provision for free and compulsory education to all the children up to the age of 14 years through Article 45, which is a part of Directive Principles. Both central and the state government have enacted several laws and initiated different kinds of programs based on the provisions of this article with an intention to provide a free and compulsory education to all the children. However, due to various limitations, universal and free compulsory education to all the children is yet to be realized. However, there was a significant progress in this direction, but in reaching the children working in hazardous industries, bonded labor, children in need of care protection need to be covered in order to reach the goal. Therefore, recently education was made a fundamental right in a view of the Rights to Education Act was enacted, making it mandatory to provide free and compulsory education to all the children between 6 to 14 years of age. Now, Article 21, Right to Education, that is the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of age group of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as a state may by law and determine. Now let us look into the constructions of childhood and the child. There are different types of constructions of the childhood and the child. First one, the child as knowledge and identity and cultural reproducer. Cultural reproducer, meaning a young child is understood as an empty vessel that needs to be filled with the proper knowledge, and the childhood is preparatory stage, beginning of a journey with progressively growing importance. And what we are supposed to do here, the child needs to receive predetermined appropriate knowledge, skills, and dominant cultural values. These are the implications of education. Coming to the second one, the child as an innocent in the golden age of life. A young child is seen as an innocent, a naive with an innate goodness, and childhood represents an idealized period during which children need constant protection from the reality and external world. The child's expression in free play is prioritized. Play should be the main methodological tool for the learning. Coming to the third one, child as nature or scientific child. A child is seen as a natural and abstracted rather than a social being. Childhood is a natural, biologically determined stage within certain development milestones. The education implication for this point, we can say that the child's everyday context is ignored because of a genuine belief that each child follows a predetermined sequence of biological stages. The child development is divided into measurable categories and the domains. Coming to the fourth point, that is child as a labor market supply factor. A child is seen as a naturally and biologically bonded attached to his or her mother. If the labor market needs to be expanded with a female workforce, alternative care must be arranged. The child and the child care issues are considered from the point of parents as a labor force. Daycare services are prioritized in order to keep the child safe while mom is working. Child as a co-constructor of knowledge, identity, and culture. Here, a child is seen as a separate individual who has his or her own stance, which might be distinct from that of parents or caregivers or other adults. Childhood is considered as one of the components of the societal structures having the same value as others, example, adulthood. The child is a social actor participating in determining his own life as well as the life of the family. The childhood is socially constructed and varies across the time, space, culture. There is no universal child or a childhoods, but mainly children and the childhoods. This information is taken authored by Moses et al. In 1999. Now let us look into the changing phenomenon. Childhood is changing phenomenon of continual fascination, concern, looking at from a cross-cultural perspective shows the wide variety of childhoods that exist across the world and warns against the interfering in and criticizing people whose lives and understanding of the world are very different to our own. All societies recognize that children are different to adults and have particular qualities and needs what anthropologists and other social scientists are interested in and are the ideas of that each society has about the nature of the childhood. The impact of these views having on children's lives. Further, expectations from the children of the same age group in same society are viewed in terms of situations they live in. A child with a poor socio-economic background can be excused as irresponsible. However, a middle-class child of same age is expected to be more responsible in terms of social homework and other developmental aspects in a very same society. It also refers to children's different life experiences, which play an important role in positioning them in society. It is crucial to perceive childhood as even unvarying feature of any society. A child, even when develops into an adult, leaving childhood behind for the next generation, makes childhood as a universal constituent of the society. According to Quatraps, suggests that world childhood rather than plural term childhoods should be used. Controversially, form will change due to change in life practices over time of, for an example, laws, policies, and other social activities, etc. We can determine that childhood as socially constructed, in other words, as something created and defined by society. Let me conclude my lecture as childhood is neither universal nor natural, rather than it is tied close to social circumstances and cultural process. Though the child and the childhood is deemed differently from time to time, context to time, context, however, one thing is common in its all diversity, and that is children are viewed differently from adults. It means children do not lack anything, rather adults needs to understand children's praxis. Childhood is viewed differently in different cultures and contexts. The notion of the childhood also altered tremendously over the time, even in very same society. It is also significant to observe that childhood cannot be considered isolated from other social variables. It is intervened with other factors being, for example, gender, race, etc. Thus, from the historical views of childhood can be seen throughout the numerous ideological discourses, which determine how constructions of the childhood continue to influence the laws and the legislations concerning the ways in which child protection is shaped. Although it is recognized that childhood warrants some degree of protective status, socio-economic and cultural circumstances also affect the young children's behavior and the way professionals practice. Those changed conditions also influence adult beliefs about rearing children and how protecting their children should be. The emphasis on the risk, assessing the risk, has changed over time, certainly through media, society, legislation. As outlined, there are some recurrent issues such as recognition of significant harm, taking appropriate action, effective communication, achieving an appropriate balance between supporting families and disruptive intervention to safeguard, promote children's welfare. Nevertheless, the child protection has been around for a number of years and indicate that there is a correlation between legislation, society, and the construct of childhood, which continually mirrors each other and will probably continue to do so. Thank you very much.